we want to create this effect of simulated smoke and fire. Using just effects within After Effects, without using any sequence. I'm going to start a new project with a new composition, and I'm going to create a new solid layer. The shortcut is Control Y. Otherwise, new solid, make sure that it has the same size as the composition, and press OK. Now here, I want to add the noise effect first of all. So I'll choose Effect, Noise and Grain, and Fractal Noise. Alright, so here I have different noise patterns that I can use. Alright, most of them are okay. I'm going to stick with the linear. And if I press play so far, I have no animation for this. I need this to animate in two ways. I need it to move up, and I need it to change form. Two things. To change form, I have an evolution parameter that I can animate. So I'm gonna click on the stopwatch and move the time, say, to 4 seconds. Reduce the comp time again to 4. And what I will do is at the end, I'll set the evolution cycle, say, to 4 cycles. So if I hit play, first I have to let it load, and then I will see the real-time speed. So this is the real-time speed. It's okay, not bad. Now I need to move it up. So at the end, which is now, I'm going to open Transform, and I have here the Turbulence Offset. I have the Y value, which is the up and down value, and I have the X value, which is the horizontal value. Notice that this is not moving the actual layer, but moving the fractal noise within the layer. Alright? So here I can also move it manually, if I like, or I can move it by value. It doesn't really matter, it's the same for us now. I'll zoom out and place the center here. And so that's what I have at the beginning. And at the end, let's hit the stopwatch here. And at the end, I'll move it up. So if I play this now, it's going up and changing form at the same time. So what I need to do now is restrict this to an area and not to the whole layer using a mask. Before I do that, another thing I can do is play with the contrast and the brightness and with the complexity, which when reduced will make this even softer. Alright, so if I go all the way down to 1, for example, it gets very soft. Another thing I can do is add blur and fast blur to blur this out, and that would reduce the amount of detail. Now, one thing about blur is that when you blur, the edges would get dark. If you hit repeat edge pixels, you will actually lose that darkness, which is a good thing. So that is the effect of the blur here. It will make the smoke less detailed, in case you wanted to have this. Actually, I'm going to keep it and set it to something like 15. Now, with the layer selected, I'm going to go to my pen tool and create a mask that would actually define the form of the smoke. If you added too many points, you can select a point and delete it. It will not break the mask. And now I'm going to animate the points so that the mask doesn't keep the same shape all the time. Alright? So I'll open the layer, open masks, and the first thing I'll do is feather the mask so that the edges are not so clear. So if I deselect it now, I would see that the edge is actually soft, which is good for smoke. And let's animate the shape. So I'm going to click on mask path. All right, and move the time. Say after 1 second, I would select the point and move it around randomly. And this will animate the form. Okay, I'm not gonna work on it a lot. You get the idea. Alright, let's say that this is good. So if I hit play now, that's what I have. I can deactivate the blur by clicking on the effects next to the title of that to see the original. Alright, because I saw that the blur was too much, 15. So let's go down to 5. Alright, now how do I add the burning at the bottom? How do I add the burning at the bottom? For that, I have to create a new layer and work on the blending mode and add a color effect to the upper layer. And that would create the burning effect. So what I will do is rename this layer to, so enter and call this smoke. And Control D that. And call this say fire. Alright, so let's hide the smoke for now. I'm gonna open the fire masks and I'm gonna remove the shape animation for the mask. So now the mask is static, and I will actually make it bigger, at least at the bottom, than the original. Something like this. Alright, and I will take down the upper points, delete some of them, because I want the fire to be restricted in this area. Now how do I change the color of that? There are many effects that I can use. One of them would be to go to Effect and Color Correction, and here let's choose Hue Saturation, and because I don't have any colors now, I have to check Colorize. This will give me a color. I will change the hue value and the saturation value, get something yellowish like this, yellow orange, and I can play with the lightness. So I'm gonna stick to that. And if I show now the original, I'll see that they don't blend together very well. To make them blend together, I need to change the blending mode for the upper layer, like you would do in Photoshop. We learned that the shortcut for this to cycle between the blending modes is Shift plus and Shift minus. So let's hit Shift plus until we get something useful. Alright, add is not bad, but I still see the edges outside, so that's not very good. So I'll continue. Okay, this is very good actually. Let's continue. Classic color dodge to see if we get something even better. Okay, the classic color dodge is what I'm after. And I can play with the lightness of this to actually increase and decrease that burning effect. Because of the blending mode, that would work very well. And I can also increase and decrease the blurriness to blend the two together even more. Alright, so once I have this, I would get my burning fire at the bottom. So it was just a matter of applying fractal noise and then duplicating the layer and working on the blending modes, which is extremely important in After Effects to create this simple animation.